Hey, what's going on guys? It's Midget here bringing you another Walking Dead review. This time we are reviewing episode 5 of season 3, which is called Say the Word. This episode, it wasn't the greatest of episodes, It starts off with the governor having a picnic party, which is basically a show to get Andrea to stay at Woodbury. That's what I think anyway, because, the governor isn't that nice at all. And you find out later on that he's got a child, and he's like doing her hair, and then he pulls off a bit of her skin, and made me cringe. Jesus, ew. But anyway, Michonne breaks into the governor's office, or his room, and she finds out about Penny, but she doesn't know who Penny is, and she takes her weapon out back from where the governor put it, which is in the curio. So, and then the governor had a go at Andrea for stealing her weapon, and Andrea just, stood back and said, well, she can't steal something that's hers, which is, true, of course. And Michonne later on then overhears a conversation with Merle and the governor about, something. She then later walks out through the back exit and discovers half a dozen of captured walkers, and since she's got a weapon, she tries to, just release some fume or something like that. She kills all of them, and exactly at that moment, someone walks out. You can't see who, and the scene ends. That if you're on TV, of course, that was the first advert break, and later after the advert break, however, I don't see that because I've just got the DVD. And after that advert break, you'll see that Merle and the governor come into the room, and the governor talks to Michonne that they like to have them. Woodbury likes having Michonne, you see, and he doesn't want to, kick her out or anything. And he picks a gun up, just threatens. Well, not threatens her, but she feels threatened, and she just walks around, he just walks around her with a weapon. So she just, she does this ninja move, and she pulls her weapon to the governor's throat, and I thought that was pretty epic. And back to talking about the walker kills that Michonne had. One of the kills was you could see the CG in it, and I didn't really like that, because I saw that and I was like, this looks kind of fake now. So I didn't like that. And back in Rick's group, Rick was kind of dizzy and all that because Laurie just died, and kill of the week has to go to Rick, of course. What he did was he just went in on full rampage. Well, no, not rampage, Rick page, let's say, and he chopped a zombie's head off in half, and then he just slit one down the middle, and I immediately thought of Thomas at that moment. But imagine Thomas was still there and ignored Rick at that moment. I was like, ooh, that would be bad. Anyway, then Daryl and Maggie go to a nearby preschool or something like that, and in the preschool they are gonna get baby formula, bottles, diapers, stuff like that for the baby. And meanwhile in the preschool, Daryl sees this little handprint thingies, and he sees one that says Sophie, and he thought of Sophia. I know that because, he likes Sophia and he likes Carol, obviously. Well, I think he does anyway. And then later on, where Maggie and Daryl meet in the middle of the room where the kitchen is, they see this little wardrobe moving, and Daryl aims at it while Maggie opens it, and Daryl fires one shot into it, and it turns out it's a raccoon. And he's like, oh, hello, dinner. I find that pretty funny, as raccoons eat garbage, junk and all that crap. And it's not very good meat, but in the zombie apocalypse you can have to eat what you can find. But, I think you'd be sick if you ate that meat as all the processed garbage, rotten stuff and like that. But, I guess he took the risk of eating it and stuff, and then he went back to Woodbury, where the governor hosts a party for, not parties public entertainment rather, that Merle and Martinez, the other person that like guards doors and like Merle's best friend, they are the interpreters, let's say, for the show, and is basically the show is that two real people fight and they're surrounded by walkers, and Merle obviously wins. You know, he's like, I'm gonna win this guy one-handed, and you know he does so. And Andrea doesn't like it. However, I don't see what's wrong with it apart from it being so loud. You know, if it was that loud and I was there, I wouldn't like to, you know, be in it as there's no guards on guard or anything. And, you know, I'm scared that, like, it's going to get overrun at that moment. But, you know, it luckily didn't. And Michonne decides to leave with Andrea, and then she gives her an ultimatum whether she's coming out or not, because Andrea isn't that keen on leaving the place. And, well, this is before the thinking, and Michonne ends up leaving alone, and she just tells Andrea that she'll only slow her down. So, back at the prison, Daryl and Maggie return with all the supplies, and Daryl just comes up as the leader because Rick abandoned all his parenting duties. He abandoned that, so Daryl stepped up as leader, and you know, he took like the child as his own, and you know, it was very cute, you know, very touching scene. But you know, he asked for a name if they've got a name yet, and you know, Carl as a child, you know, I don't blame him, but he had to ruin the emotion, and he just like said all the names of the group that have died, like Carl, no, and yeah, it was pretty weird, like, you know, Carl. I the second time I looked at that, I just had to put something over my ears because I was like, oh damn, this is embarrassing, you know. It's not something you'd like to hear, like, well, I think we should call her Sophia, we should call her Laurie, we should call her Jackie, or something like that from season 1. I was like, oh no, you know, I wouldn't like to hear that. And then Daryl just calls her little ass kicker, good man Daryl. And it moves to Rick the next day, that's sleeping in where Laurie died, and you know, he sees that there's like a fat walker with his belly overhanging, and he sees the bloody floor where Laurie was, and it's like blood all over to the walker, and then he looks in his mouth and he sees hair, and I was like, ooh, this is the darkest moment ever in The Walking Dead. I can't imagine the last time I saw something like that, you know. He won't leave Laurie alone, you know, Laurie. She dies cold-hearted, well, not cold-hearted, but in cold blood, let's just say. I think that was a very, you know, bad death. I wouldn't like to die like that. And then on top of that, she got eaten by a walker, and then Rick just sees the hair in the walker's mouth and a really fat belly. So, you know, he shoots the walker in the mouth, in the brain part, and he proceeds to, you know, stab it in the stomach. I don't know why he did that. Maybe you could please tell me in the comments below. And then a phone rings, which I don't know what was that about, and Rick ends up answering it. You know, as soon as he answers, that's the end of the episode. And this episode, I think, was, you know, fairly well done. However, it wasn't one of my favourite episodes, as, you know, there was too much going on, you know. Focus on one story. Like, typically, if you just wanted to put it this way, there's 4 stories. There's Michonne's, there's Woodbury, there's Rick, and there's, you know, prisons. I was like, what do I focus on? And it's just, it wasn't the most entertaining of episodes. Yes, there was some zombie kills, there was some drama, but, you know, overall, I would like to Rick come back to his normal self quick, and it'll be a funner episode because, you know, yeah, and that was basically my review, you know. I gotta give this episode a 7 out of 10. You know, it wasn't the worst, but by far it wasn't the best. Anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed this episode, guys. If you did, make sure you leave a like, and I'm gonna come back tomorrow. And as always, this was Midget, and I'll see you guys later.